students, as it is already being used to identify fake news, detect hate speech, monitor social media activity, and analyze viewers' data. And I think if we are not wrong, Rudra, we are planning to build an AI lab, which will be the next big frontier for not just Bennett, but the entire Times Group. We're very excited about it. I'm also going to personally attend as many sessions as I can, because I am a dinosaur of yesteryears. And I am always on ChatGPT. Every day. I'm writing speeches on ChatGPT. This is not ChatGPT, by the way. This is from Sanjeev. He may have used ChatGPT to send it to me. I don't know that. So, tomorrow we have a session, for example, on prompting. So, do attend that. I know Microsoft's launched Copilot. It's another exciting adventure there. I wonder what people like me will end up doing when AI takes over. So again, I encourage you all, media students especially, to take as many AI courses and programs being offered at this university. And also just kind of get curious about this whole idea. What is AI and what is it doing? And how do you kind of get into the basics of it? It's a tool that you cannot live without. Good or bad, it's here to stay. I hope these courses will give you the skills you will all need to understand how to use AI, what is AI, how can it be useful to you, so on and so forth. So once again, congratulations, school. And are these returning students, new students? This is the media school. Okay, great. So have fun.
Thank you, respected VC sir, for your encouraging words. We hope we'll be able to live up to your expectations. Now, I will quickly request Professor Abhay Bansal, Dean of the Computer Science School, who has been a big pillar of support to the Times School of Media. Sir, few words from you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Sanjeev. It's really a very important day, important time. Everybody, whenever you think, you always think for AI. In technology, AI is playing very important role. And when we go through the data, recently AI has reached to $100 billion, and it is going to be 20 folds by 2030. So today you can think, but tomorrow you cannot think. You can't live without AI. You can't have any product which does not have AI into it. And it's really good to have Rudra and team from Microsoft. I could see Mr. Abhishek, please put your hands together, who is from Microsoft. Thank you very much to be with us. And Mr. Rudra, who is Chief Growth Officer, Digital Innovation with Times Group. Thank you, Rudra. Because without involvement of industry, academia, nothing can be done. We can't make you industry ready. And vision of our MD, Mr. Vineet Jain, is that each and every student of Bennett should get more than you dream and desire. So with AI, I'm sure your productivity will be multiplied, can be 10 times more than what it is right now, and you will flourish like anything. And thank you, Rudra, for having us in association with Microsoft. A lot of opportunities are coming up. As our Vice Chancellor sir has already mentioned, we are going to come up with Center of Excellence with Microsoft. So two big brands coming together. I'm sure we all are going to witness that. One Microsoft, another Times Group, which is a leading brand, 180 years existence, known #1 in Asia. So those brands coming together, I'm sure a lot of benefits we are going to have at Bennett University. So let's put hands together for all of them to come up jointly. And I'm sure together with industry, we can be the biggest contributor. That is what our MD has given us mandate, that Bennett University with Times and Microsoft should be the biggest contributor in AI. And I'm happy to mention a note here. Bennett University is the first private university in India to have AI supercomputing on their campus. So please put your hands together for our MD. Uh, so I'm sure this session which we are going to have with Microsoft, lot of opportunity is going to come up. And I can ensure, even if you are from media, journalism, even from computer science, there's nothing which is possible without AI. So AI can multiply your productivity, as Vice Chancellor told ChatGPT. A lot of such softwares are coming up and a lot of opportunities are coming up. And I'm sure when we are going to skill you, reskilling you on AI, you're going to have wonderful world-class opportunities. In Bennett, as we always say, we have more than 90% faculties who are from IIT and IIT, from what top universities. And I'm sure together with their expertise on artificial intelligence, we are going to, Rudra, we are going to do a lot of things. And I'm sure having your center of excellence at Bennett will be a game changer for Indian scenario. And we look forward to have your mentorship and guidance. And regularly we look forward to you have a campus. Even whole team of Times of India I could see on campus. We look forward to see you so that together we make an impact and make work as the best place to live. Thank you very much and look forward to hear about it.
Thank you so much, sir. We'll start the session now. Shreya here. I'm going to hand over to Shreya and she will take us through the proceedings.
Thank you so much, sir. I really hope that everybody is looking forward to this session because it's going to be filled with amazing insights about AI. So, guys, without further ado, I want to begin with the session, but before that, I have an announcement to make. If at all, during the session, you feel about some insight that you feel is very empowering, very new, very innovative, you can share them on your Instagram handles or any social media handle for that matter using the hashtag Bennett University Microsoft event to please use. So please use that. Now let us begin with the event. Our first speaker for the day is Mr. Rudra Kasturi. He's a man who wears many hats. He is a founder, investor, speaker, and a mentor. Most recently, Rudra sir has taken up over as the Chief Growth Officer at Times Group. He is the business head for AI Labs and digital innovation. He is a consultant at Tencent, where he looks into new business initiatives. He's also an advisor and at Antler India, and a serial entrepreneur who has launched multiple startups. He will be discussing about how AI has revolutionized media. So guys, can we give a huge round of applause to Rudra sir? Thank you.
Need to set up an office outside, hire different people, or simply start in Bennett University. Make sure my own students are aware of this entire product. When they step out so proudly with a certificate that is actually engaged with Microsoft, that I know how AI works, which is very above the bar compared to any other universities out in the world, is what I confidently say. That's how we build a curriculum, like me and my team sit whole night to understand how do we build a curriculum for you guys, which makes it easy, very easy to understand, and build your own business models, build your own websites if you really want to build something. That's the whole exercise in the last 1 month, and I got allocated a building also for AI Labs. I'm so excited. It's not me. Excited about? Okay, it's me.
I think you are holding
Okay.
the.
Hold it slightly up. Okay. Okay. So we wanted to start AI Labs, wherein we work with you. I don't want to hire someone outside and train them about it. Rather, I pick my own students from my own university, build these products, and showcase to the world that this is all out and out AI product built by Bennett University. And we're gonna showcase wherever that is possible. And in this process, we have already started working on some of the tools where we can actually tell you like how this tool is gonna help you on a day-to-day basis. And like I said, I have done multiple startups where every startup now I have built a model in such a way AI is part of this entire process, right from food tech to health and to mindfulness, yoga, all of the places wherever possible we are integrating AI, share those learnings to you guys to think through that AI is just not one side of publishing business, but it is more than that. In the publishing business itself, we have like a news and non-news categories, right? So my job particularly right now as a business head for AI Labs or digital innovations is to make sure how do I bring more users to Times Group let's say we are already getting good traffic, good users on our properties. How do I make sure I amplify that by 10x by building new products using AI and make more money out of it? That's the whole goal I'm working on it. And it's a great journey. In morning class, I told to some of the students, the journey is very different compared to what we are seeing actually today. Every day is a learning. Like Bansal sir said, VC sir said, like that day when I thought about AI in Feb, compared to where we are today, the Feb projects are no longer valid. What we are seeing is what it is, right? So, which is where I just want to make sure all of you start thinking from the business mindset, entrepreneur mindset, learn everything on how do I do it. How do I make sure that this product comes out in a classic way that nobody even think about it, right? That's all I just wanted to make sure. And this entire AI mentorship program with Microsoft, I'm sorry, with my good friend Abhishek, I've been talking to him about like 6 months now. Every day, one conversation we have is like, what is that new thing we can do? How do I scale it fast? Look, AI is here. How do I scale this product fast? I'm done talking about it. Let's build something. That's how we started off every day and day out a product using AI. And I'm very happy that they choose us as a knowledge partner, technology partner to train our university in that direction. Like everybody said before, first in the universities, in private universities, as part of curriculum and ensuring that everybody of you from third semester going forward, right now it is fifth, but ensuring that from third semester onwards, you will learn about AI. You are a master of AI when you step out of this university. That's the whole goal. And thanks a lot, Sanjay sir, for taking all our stress and making sure it happens. Because when we wanted to do this course, we want a seriousness in the business. Because we want you to be better in the market. It's not that we gain something from it. That is when he said, I will make curriculum as a mandate with a mark system so that everybody will get trained. Right? Thank you so much, sir, for all the effort that you're putting. And thank you so much, sir, for the opportunity for me to build this. And it's my passion. And I really want to build big things here, wherein you will see definitely wonders in the coming days. Gen Z really like it. That's the kind of products we're going to build here. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'll let Abhishek to talk more about it. Cool, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We're as much as excited as you are to work with you in the AI mentorship program. Now to the surprise part. Please allow me to welcome Mr. Abhishek Mazumdar. He's the Principal Product Manager at Microsoft, where he leads the India growth for various consumer products such as Bing, Search, and Chat, Edge, and more. He has passion for technology and innovation. In his early days as a developer, he has worked with a global investment firm, D. Shaw. He holds an MBA degree from IIM Bangalore. He's also a proud Kolkata native who loves his city, culture, and cuisine. He's excited to share his insights and experiences with us in this session. Being an AI mentor too, he will be sharing a lot of case studies, guys. So there's going to be a lot of insights here. And I urge you to share them on your social media handles using the hashtag Bennett University Microsoft AI event, because why not share all our learnings with the world too? So over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks everybody, and thanks to Bennett University for the opportunity to talk about what we are doing. Thanks for the kind intro. So you already know about me. I'll dive right in. One of my goals would be to talk to you about how we are using AI for consumer products within Microsoft. Like, what do we do? What are people doing with it? What are our learnings so that it can enable you better? When I was thinking about a talk, like the title for this, I thought, like, what is it that can excite people, that can make them curious? And the only thing that came to my mind was be a dreamer. Recently,
stay away from the speakers.
Sorry. I think one of the things that constantly has happened at the same time when we are talking about dreams and be a dreamer is the Chandrayaan 3 landing that happened yesterday. It was a massive moment for all of us in India. But there were people who dreamt about it and they were able to go ahead and do it. So that's the power of dreams. what is it that you can do, what is it that you can do with AI is super important. I think there is this thinking that AI will take over this world. By the end of the talk, I'll come back to that question again. But let me try to share some examples on what's there. Moving forward, you may be aware of this gentleman, Bill Gates, co-founder of Microsoft. A few months back, he has this gatesnotes.com. If you guys are interested, you should try to see like what he's thinking, what he's doing. And one of the things that he posted, this was around April this year, was the age of AI has begun. Now I'll tell you why that. Why are we saying AI has just begun? It has been happening for quite some time. People have been talking about it. But if you read through, and I'm not going to bore you by reading it through it, I'll just mention what it's done. He mentioned there are two big things that have happened in his life. One was in 1980s when he in Xerox saw the first graphical user interface, which ultimately became Windows, and it laid the foundation for all the PCs and smartphones and everything that you're seeing, right? Like that was a big revolution. And the other thing that he said, that he felt the same way when he saw the OpenAI, the ChatGPT developments that were happening in AI and how good those responses were becoming. Microsoft has had a strategic relationship with OpenAI. Bill Gates, as his personal capacity, has been their advisor for quite some time. So it was around September 2022 when there was a demo of GPT that he felt like this is something mind-blowing. This can actually lead to another 10 to 15 years of huge revolution, right? And we all are in that step. Now, just so that we can think it through, right? Like it's very hard to think about history, like what happened and where we have. I'd rather say it's harder to think about future. It's easy to look at the past and see where things were, and you can see now where things are, so that you can think things forward. Let me show you a very small glimpse of the GUI that he talked about, the graphical user interface that he got inspired with, that made him think that every PC on a desktop and all computer things coming in. What did he see? Again, like this is an ad.
Good morning. You come into your office, grab a cup of coffee, morning bread, and the Xerox machine presents your morning mail on a screen. What's the mail this morning? This one looks interesting. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to need a couple of copies of this. Push a button, and the words and images you see on the screen appear on paper. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Fred. I think everybody on the valley should see this. Push another button, and the information is sent electronically to similar units around the corner or around the world. This is an experimental office system. It's in use now at the Xerox Research Center in Palo Alto, California. Soon, Xerox systems like this will help you manage your most precious resource, information. Anything else? Flowers. Oh, what flowers? My anniversary. I forgot.
So, everything that was shown, we take it for granted today. Like the printout that was done. When the person was looking at like the flowers for the anniversary, or he was saying that I have to send this out to everybody, we take it for granted. This ad was from 1979. From that, we have come here. Now, what is it that you can do by standing now here with all the things that AI is coming up with? It's on you. Like you are the people who are going to think, how can we use these tools? What is it that we can do and take them forward, right? And if you think about over the last few years, AI just didn't get started now. Like though the ChatGPT and other things we are discussing, like it looks like so much have happened over the last 6 months or so. AI has been happening for quite some time, right? Like there were traditional machine learning, then 2014 to 2018 there were deep learning around RNNs and other stuff. 2018 to 2022 it moved into more of natural language understanding. And 2020 onwards, there has been massive implosion of sorts for LLMs like language models, neural networks, GPTX, Lambda, multiple technologies have come up. But it's not that these are happening only in the last few months. Years of research, years of investment has gone into to stand where we are today. Right? Now, with that, let me, as OpenAI and that ChatGPT, all these things were coming in, and we were from Microsoft, like we were thinking this through, that how we have to rethink about this. One of the main things that came was, how do we rethink or reimagine search? Like, how do people search today, and what is it that we can do? And this was around November 2022 when the thinking was going on, that how do people search? And like, in case we have to do it more of a chat way, like what do people do? Like, as you can see, like when you are searching, you generally search for a web domain, let's say YouTube or Amazon or a Microsoft stock or a wiki. You know what you want to get to. But if you go towards the other end, like where it's more chat, you sort of know what you are looking for, but you don't exactly have like finger on like exactly what you want. Like, for example, how to write if else in Java. Like, let's say somebody is thinking about it. Or best low-carb fruits from vitamin C. Or if you'd like to throw a dinner party for 6 people, how do you get to know about that, right? So, so that's one of the ways we were thinking about it. That, like, how does search and chat come together? Yeah. In this case, we were rethinking, reimagining that what is search, what is chat, and that's how Bing Chat came into existence, and that's coming up as Copilot in many of the Microsoft products. I'll be touching upon like what we are doing there and what's happening to tell you more details about it, right? And one of the things that we pushed ourselves for is like this was a time when things were actually changing very fast. We had to react very fast. What is it that we can do? And that's how on February 7th there was this announcement of Bing Chat, where it's a collaboration where we are using ChatGPT APIs, but we are improving on them, like we are building models on top of it. We are training with Bing index data to make them more user-focused to help you get things done, right? I'm going to share a short example on how we think like chat is going to change, like the way you are searching for information, right? I'll show you a few of the demos, and I'll hope the videos play. So generally right now, there's a classic way of searching, and this you will be doing in any search engine for that matter, right? Let's say you are planning an itinerary for 3-day Ladakh trip. You will be breaking it up into one part first, but at the same time when you are going to make a itinerary, you would want to know the hotels and multiple other stuff. But what do you have to do now? You have to break it up that first, tell me, help me build a trip. You are going to get all these blue links. You have to crop the information, that which are good, which are bad. You will have to decide through and work out like what's best. After that, like once you have figured out your itinerary, that these are the places that you want to go, you will be going one step further, that find me good hotels in Ladakh within a particular budget. These are separate queries that you are making. You are breaking it into, again I'm doing that mess, sorry. Like you are breaking up into things, tasks that the search engine can do. And this is true for every search engine, by the way. Like on Bing also, if you go to bing.com, the search stuff, it's going to do the same thing. Now when chat comes in, like how does it change, right? When Bing Chat, like we enable, you just give one, we are calling it prompt, but one question, that give me a 5-day itinerary for Ladakh for 3 people in a budget of 15, like one and a half lakhs, include hotels to stay within the itinerary. I'm just doing it the way I would have done it with a person. I am not breaking it up into 3 different queries, 3 different tasks. I am not doing the heavy lifting. The engine is doing the heavy lifting. And if you see, it's actually breaking up, like day 1, you should go here. Day 2, you should go there. There are hotel names that are included, like all the responses have, the first one has Hotel Ladakh Palace, the second one has Desert Himalaya Resort. It's actually embedding that as you go from one place to another, which are the places that you can stay in. You do not have to think of it as something that you do later. And in addition to that, if you notice, one of the things that also does, so that you do not feel bad later on that you went on a Ladakh trip and you didn't get to see where 3 Idiots was shot, right? Like it's actually mentioning there, visit Pangong Lake. It is also famous for being the shooting location of Bollywood movie 3 Idiots. I've been prompted for it. It knows that when people visit Ladakh, most of the time they are looking for something to connect with, right? So we have broken, like chat is going to change the way you are searching for it. It's going to break things, like you do not have to do the heavy lifting. You can do like you have to spend your time in figuring out what information you want. You do not have to spend time in how. Like chat is actually going to completely reimagine the way you have been searching all this while. If you think about under the hood, what's happening, right? A couple of things. Though there are like underneath ChatGPT APIs are also getting used and multiple things, but on Bing, like on Microsoft side, what we do is like we train these models on the Bing index. Like Bing is a search engine, so that's why we know till the last minute or the last second everything that's happening. We crawl the web, we have an index, and we are using all that data to train these models. And at the same time, we are optimizing these models to perform the task better, right? One of the main things under the hood that's happening is freshness. If you had gone to ChatGPT and if you had asked even today, like what is the latest Salman Khan movie, it would have actually told you like my knowledge is till September 2021. The latest movie at that point was Radhe, Your Most Wanted Man, right? Whereas if you come to Bing Chat, like as I said, like since we are training this on the latest of data, even the Rajnikant's Jailer movie would have come up, but I took Salman Khan as an example, just like that. And in case of that, like Kisi Ka Bhai, Kisi Ka Jaan is the latest movie, right? Like if you're doing it for movies, if you're doing it for cricket, let's say I'm looking for information on Chandrayan's landing from yesterday, Bing Chat would be telling you that Chandrayan landed safely. Whereas like in other cases like ChatGPT is trained till a moment, like a couple of years back data. This is super important, right? Like when you're using a chat interface, freshness becomes super important. And that's something that we are doing under the hood for Bing Chat. The second thing that becomes important is about factual accuracy, right? Like if you're searching for something that we have got trained on with search engines is we have to trust the data. I mean, we have to trust the information because we are going to use them in multiple other places. If this I was doing during IPL, I tried like which was the match where Rinku Singh hit 5 sixes in an over. Again, I think you know that I'm from Kolkata, so I am a Kolkata Knight Riders fan, though they are not a great team. But still, like it's emotion rather than the facts. One of the things that it said, right, like that to the best of my knowledge, the only instance where a batsman hit 6 sixes in an over was Sir Garfield Sobers and some multiple stuff. Whereas what we know happened during IPL was that there was this Gujarat Titans versus KKR match where he went ahead and Rinku Singh was one of the players who hit 5 sixes in that over. Again, like I'm just showing you as an instance. This factual accuracy becomes super important. Now, how do you trust this data? Like, why do you trust what we said, right? One of the things is a concept of grounding, where we base it on facts that are happening. That's why you see all those 1, 2, 3, we call them citations. You can actually go in and check that whatever data that we are providing you is accurate. And this happens for each and every response that we provide. So that you can trust the response that you are getting. It's not just a language response, it's actually factually accurate. You can use this whether it's in your research, whether it's for fact finding or whatever it is, right? So again, like grounding and factual accuracy becomes super important. And another thing that is also important is like having ground truth. And what do we mean by ground truth is, let's say I'm searching for what are some of the top rated Chinese restaurants near me. You'll be getting a response that, yeah, you can refer to online directories, you can ask for recommendation, you can check local newspapers, use food, and all these are great suggestions actually. Like these are all spot on. But one of the things that we do, since we have the knowledge of the web, is we are going to tell you the exact restaurants that are around you. Again, like since we understand like what data is around, like where you are, like what are the restaurants near you, we will be able to tell you that. And this is true for even movies and whatever you search for, like be it for like any shops, it can be anything. But we are going to ground that information to the facts around you so that it's super helpful for you, right? So that's how you rethink, like you have a tool, but you rethink from user perspective, that what is it that you can do. This is a bit like, I'll just get a very slightly under the hood, I won't get too deep into the technical details, but what's happening underneath is like users just generally providing a user prompt and we have a conversation context, like we try to understand what's happening with this. For example, my query is tell me about the routes of Vande Bharat Express from Bangalore, right? And what happens in the background is like we have a Bing orchestrator, which is a search. It hits the Bing index ranking and answers to get like which are the topmost ranking information about this. That we routed to the GPT-4, right, and whichever is the latest models those are running, we hit it with it, and we get certain results. And then there is a talk that happens between the Bing index and GPT-4 till we are able to be like, we are accurate, that we know that, yeah, this is an answer that we can depend on. And there are all these internal queries that are happening. And once that's done, like what happens is like it leads to a final chat answer output where what you see as a response, right? So all these things are happening in the back end, like which is using the Bing index, the ranking, the answer. There's a whole orchestrator behind it that's actually trying to leverage the model, but at the same time providing the grounding from the Bing index so that you have an appropriate chat answer which you can use and it's functional for you, right? There have been challenges as well, and I'll shortly mention a few. AI, all these GPT models and stuff are super compute heavy, like they're very costly. The GPUs, number of GPUs that are run on them is very, very high on cost. So we had to work through like how we can scale those models. We had to think about grounding, which I had already mentioned, like where we are using citations and stuff. And another challenge that we have been able to take care of is responsible AI. What I mean by responsible AI is when you provide a chat interface, people can search for things like that may be objectionable, that may be for self-harm, that may be multiple other things they can do. And we have to build the tools so that our chat responses do not provide you something that you shouldn't be like looking for. Like let's say somebody is looking for doing some bad damage to themselves or somebody else, or even organization, like somebody is trying to learn hacking. I mean, chat shouldn't provide like, yeah, these are 1, 2, 3, this is how you do it. Like that's actually not going to be great, right? So we have to be responsible about our AI, and Microsoft, like we put a lot of effort into doing that. So that's one of the big challenges that we try to take care of. Many of you may have been aware about the jailbreak that happened, like where people try to break these models and stuff. So that's where it becomes interesting. Now, all the things that I talked about, one of the things that like you may have observed is like ultimately these are tools. What's super important is the prompt like that you provide. Like the better you are with the prompts, the better the responses you will get. I was sharing this example sometime back earlier, and that's where like knowing about media, knowing about journalism, knowing about editorial, knowing the tech, that puts you in a very good balance, like how you can make most of this tool. You may have heard about this tool called Midjourney, right? Like many of my friends whom I have seen like get brilliant output from it are photographers, because they know like exact prompts to provide, what queries to provide to get that output. And that can be applied to any AI tool, like even like ChatGPT or Bing Chat or Google Bard, for example. The better you are with your prompts, the better you would be able to get an output from them, right? And a few tips, and I'm sure like there's a whole course around it, so I'm not, like this is not something that's there, like Drew will have much more details. It's a super high level, but one of the things is like it uses all the context that's there, like what are the previous things that you have been talking about? Like how did you, like it's not just one shot, like you give a query and it provides. What were the things that you were saying? What was summary of the conversation so far? What's the level of personalization? Like the thing that I may be seeing, like Rudra may be seeing something else, Anil may be seeing something else. You have to be able to define a task. Like task definitions need to be super clear. Like if you can give a few examples, like for example, if you can tell the prompt that act like a dietitian, or you can say that, yeah, give me a maths problem, and make it a comma separated. The more examples that you can provide, the tool performs even better. So you have to be able to like define the task properly and then break down complex tasks. Like it doesn't mean that you have to break it into multiple prompts. It's the same prompt, but you are more specific about it. And at the same time, like ask the model to generate explanations. Like why did you say this? Like why do you think like this is true and stuff? And there is a recency bias. I'll share a few examples where how this can be done. But how can you use LLMs? Like there are a lot of things you can do. Like be it summarization, question writing, machine translation, keyword tagging, lot of applications, and I'll be showing a quick glimpse of the things that we are doing right now as well. Along with it, like what happens is like these are super great. Even like I think like we are not maximizing this yet, but soon you will be seeing more of it. These are really good in Indian languages already. Like the Bing chat experience, if you go and try to get an explanation of the solar system in Hindi, you will be able to get that. Be it Tamil, Telugu, like Indian languages, like it's already supported, and we are we are keeping on improving the models further. Code generation, like people who are trying learning, or even active developers who are trying to debug stuff, like again Bing chat or code, GPT are amazing tools for them, right? If we get into a bit more details around when I said like prompting becomes super important, right? Like I was like, I don't know how many hours I've spent with my son over this Chandrayaan 3 release and like the launch that happened, and over the last few weeks we have been like talking with Bing Chat to know more. And one of the more recent ones was that there was this another one like Luna 25 that got launched from Russia. And how does these two compare to each other? Now, I didn't have to go in and do a huge research around it. What I prompted was like compare Chandrayaan 3 with Luna 25 and like generate the response in a tabular format, right? What I'm trying to show here is you can actually tell that what is the format in which the responses should come in. Because this is much more readable. Otherwise, you could have sent as a bullet or a paragraph or whatever. But we have told them that just give me a summary in this format, right? So that's where it becomes important that how you can drive the system. This is another example of, I don't know whether you'll be able to see, but like when I'm, so I have a 9-year-old son, whom like I find the most application of this in education. And I know a few people know that I keep on talking about education and stuff, but I had to explain circulatory system to him. And when I went and searched on search engines, I was getting a lot of links, but they were not at the level that I could explain to my son. But when I went and asked like ChatGPT that give me a response on Bing Chat that give me an explanation of circulatory system for a 9-year-old, it was pretty spot on, right? And similarly to this example, like for maths, like I asked like generate 5-word problems on fractions for a 9-year-old. I made sure that like the model understands that this is for a grade 4 student, 9-year-old, on fractions. And I asked it to generate the problems with characters from a movie, Cars. It's a Pixar movie. And why I did that was otherwise maths is very boring for my son. He doesn't like doing maths. But when he saw these 5-word problems that came up that had characters that he likes from the Cars movie, the next day he came and told me that can I have another 5 set of sums that he can do, right? So how can you use these tools to even make it interesting for, like we now have the power with all these models to do things that can make even education more interesting and exciting. And how can we do that, right? And not just that, like if I prompt the model later on that I crop this response, but if I prompt the model later on that give me solutions for the problems, it actually gave complete explanations at how the 5 problems that it had shared earlier, what are the steps for me to go about and solve them, like how do I get the solutions for them so that I can like teach my son better. This is another example of a different prompt, and I'm just sharing some of the, like, I think one of the main things that we have to take care of and work out is, these models are very powerful, but we are not even scratching the surface because we don't know, I mean, we are just getting started in how we should use these models, right? So again, like this is another way where I prompted that, please act like a dietitian and create a meal plan for my family based on like food from like, I think I mentioned Bengali and Maharashtrian food, from those 2 cuisines. I want to eat up to 1800 calories per day. Like pick dishes where ingredients are easily available for me in an Indian supermarket, right? And then it came up, I don't know how misal pav and chola dal will taste like, I haven't tasted this yet. But it actually mixed up like Maharashtrian food along with Bengali. There are quite a few Bengali dishes out here. And it prompted me like, this is like each meal actually has a serving as well. That this is about 300 calories, this one is about 250 calories. So that the total stays within that 1800. Again, what I'm trying to get to is, whichever area that you are thinking about, how can you think about that area more and figure out how you can get most out of these LLMs, right? Out of this Bing Chat and ChatGPT models. A few other examples that are there is around like, be it like searching for a job, or like this was another interesting one where like what I was trying to do was I, I wanted to learn something new. So I prompted that I'm learning about astronomy and space. I would like to learn from the best. So please help generate a 3 months course which will help me get a good grasp of the subject. And what it did is it actually broke up like month 1, month 2, month 3, which is the topic that I should be covering. It has links to the courses that I should take. Like it actually went through and gave me a Coursera link. It gave me multiple edX links and multiple other places where it thought that it's relevant. It gave me a complete 3-month course. It broke up that this, like if you want to learn this subject, this is a good way to do it. Again, like I took astronomy as just one of the subjects. Just imagine like anybody who wants to like get trained on something or learn something, how powerful this tool can become in telling you how to go about it. Like you don't have to go through tons of research for it. You will have a plan that you can go ahead and do, like execute on. While we talk about a lot of this chat interface and how this works and like how you get chat responses, it's a conversation, which is super important. We have been using LLM models on our search engine as well to make it even better. Some of the things that are coming in is what's called enriched knowledge cards. Like basically we are talking about timelines and linking facts together, and we are using GPT models for many of those powerful scenarios. We have scenarios which are around like Bing stories, like which are bite-sized information, and like basically which are having image rich cards and background sound. GPT is helping us create some of those stories for higher engagement, and also like it's helping improve the overall answer, like be it a relevant or a direct answer with multiple sources and stuff, right? And in addition to that, like there are all these ghosted suggestions. Like fresh and highlighted questions, rich suggestions. So it's not just it's coming up in your chat response, but even the overall experience that you have, how can we make it better? We have launched, like enabled this co-pilot experience even on Edge, like Edge browser. And you will find that if you are looking at an article, it can easily tell you that this is a summary of the article, right? And you can do multiple more things, but summarization is also a key thing that's there. You are already aware that you can create images with it. Like this was something that I was trying to create with, like about after the Chandrayaan landing. You can prompt, like build the prompt so that you have a good image that you are wanted. And another area that we are focusing on is creation, right? Like be it creation of emails or posts or quizzes. GPT can be super powerful with that. Like with all the knowledge that we have of the web, excuse me, we can actually do a much better job in even doing that. We have tried to enable like all these co-pilot experiences across, like it launched on Bing. We have enabled it on other products across Microsoft, like be it Edge, Windows, SwiftKey, and Skype. And from user impact also, like we have actually seen a pretty good growth. Like it has helped us like reach hundreds of millions of daily active usage with like when we launched on Bing Chat, like we launched with the GPT models. And along with that, like as you may have seen the other places as well, like Microsoft is now being taken as one of the leaders in this space, which reflects in how we are driving the business forward. So with all of that, like one of the things that I wanted to take a moment on is also to just give you a quick glimpse. Like we launched Bing Chat on Feb 7th, so we are at 6 months. So I'll play a very quick video on the summary of the last 6 months. And like, yeah, so just maybe a quick look if the video plays fine. So with that, I'll tell you, going back to the previous question, right? AI is not taking us over. At least there is still time. It depends upon what you can do with AI. Like what can you do with it? Can you be the dreamer who can come up with how you want to use these tools? It's you who are on the driver's seat. You have to figure out like how you can use these tools, be it for social, be it for creating your diet plans, be it doing some like setting up a business, entrepreneurship, whatever you want. But AI is there as a tool that's going to help you. That's all from me. Thank you. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you so much, sir. I think I'm just going to replace Google with Bing Chat now to make my life faster and easier. So moving forward to the next speaker of the day, Mr. Anil Arora. Guys, he's from Microsoft India. He's an AI specialist, a seasoned professional with extensive experience in machine learning and artificial intelligence space. He's impacted customer businesses across industries and regions, including APAC, US, EMEA, by unleashing the power of AI. He's conceptualized and set up new business unit from ground up, establishing successful analytical operations. We really look forward to learning more about the philosophy of Microsoft with AI from you, sir. Can we please have a huge round of applause for him?
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
I think, thank you very much for having us here. I think it's an honor to be present at this university and presenting the hot topic which everyone is discussing now. Everyone's talking about AI. I hope it doesn't become an overdosage for all of you, because we have been talking about AI, right? So we were talking about BI in the past, now it's gone to AI. So thank you again very much for having us here. It's been an honor and privilege to be a part of this event. It's a privilege to be a part of this event. What I'm going to do is, I think if you are leading this slide, right, it says about bringing generative AI to life with OpenAI. Bringing generative AI to life with OpenAI, right? I mean, everyone is hearing about AI. Everyone is doing some sort of, testing, some sort of development activities around AI, right? But unless you really bring this AI out of these development activities, out of the laboratories, right? Bring them to the life, bring them to the production systems of an organization. Honestly, these are just pieces of toys that one is playing with, right? So you need to bring those pieces of toys, give them life, bring them into your deployment, bring them into your businesses to be able to get the maximum benefits of what AI can offer. So whatever I'm going to talk about in the next 40 odd minutes, I will be very centered around how do you really bring this AI into life, right? And how Azure, Microsoft Azure can really help you bring that life to the artificial intelligence, right? Now, let's just do a bit of a overview in terms of how this AI has really evolved. If you see, I think 1956. Has anybody heard about AI being there in the 1956? We've been hearing this in the last 4 years, 5 years, that's it. But I think the fundamentals of artificial intelligence were laid way back in 1950s. It was laid way back by Dr. John McCarthy. He was the one who kind of invented the artificial neural network, which is actually forming the base for all the algorithms that we are now using. If someone has heard about OpenAI, ChatGPT, or even deep neural networks, ResNet networks, these are all a part of our artificial intelligence technology stack. And hence we say that this is not new, it's just got evolved over a period of a time. We moved on, we did more of a research, finally came back to the 1990s, and we were talking about machine learning as a whole, right? Machine learning is again a part of the whole umbrella called artificial intelligence. The algorithms that we're talking about, for example, the random forest, gradient boostings, logistic regression, decision trees, well, I mean, that's a matter of a fact that whether we want to classify decision trees and logistic regression and linear regression as a part of machine learning or not, there's a separate debate. There's a separate debate in the data science community. But all we are trying to say is these are the algorithms that got, eventually developed and people started using these ML algorithms. Now, as we progress from 1990s to late 2000, what happened was there was so much of a data that got started, collecting by the organizations. The ML algorithms typically are suited for those use cases where you have your structured data, which means there's a data that is lying in the rows and columns, and you want to, massage those data sets. You want to bring value out of those structured data sets. But as the time evolved, organizations realized that we really need to solve the puzzle which is unstructured data, which means the data in the form of a text, videos, images. How do we solve it? And these algorithms like random forest, gradient boosting, regressions, decision trees, these are never meant to solve unstructured data because their capability was more around solving structured data use cases, which is where these new algorithms came into the picture under the further smaller umbrella of artificial intelligence called deep learning. So there were multiple algorithms that got generated within the deep learning, like a ResNet, like a DenseNet, VGG16. These are all models that people started using to solve unstructured data. And that is how we have been evolving from 1956 of using just an ANN to, let's say, a VGG16 model. That has been the journey, right? And there was a lot of success that was there. People were successful, people were unsuccessful. Finally, what it came to was the new kid on the block now, which is generative AI. Everyone's talking about ChatGPT. I'm pretty sure everyone here in the room would have done something or heard something about ChatGPT. Anyone not heard about it? I don't think any. I mean, everyone would have heard about it, at least not tried, but at least heard about it. So that is the new kid on the block, which is 2021's of generative AI. Now, this has taken our artificial intelligence to the next level. And the reason why we say that it has gone to the next level is I'll talk about in my next slides. So, spare your thoughts for the coming slides. And possibly the reasons for, this evolution of AI is predominantly, in my belief, based on three pillars. One is a data that has gone humongously calculated, being stored in our organizations in a massive way, right? Then there we have a compute powers which organizations are starting to leverage, which means not only the data, but we really need to have that compute to solve and work upon those data sets, which is where the second pillar is. The third pillar, which is I think the most favorable for all the data science community, is the algorithms that have developed over the years. So combination of a data, combination of compute and algorithms, these three pillars have kind of formed the base for AI to really evolve from what we were talking from 1950s to 2020s that we are talking about. And generally this has been a progressive shift from our machine learning, deep learning to generative AI. Why we say that it's a progressive shift? Let's take a step back in terms of how we were doing deep learning or let's say machine learning before this generative AI really came into the picture. The way we were doing, let's say a computer vision model or a natural language speech models, the way we were doing in the earlier avatars was there was a lot of data massaging activities that we really need to carry out. For example, the data that is accumulated by the organization is never useful right away to do your analytics or to do your deep learning or to do your ML. There's a lots and lots of data massaging activity that happens. For example, in an image video use case where you are trying to analyze the images and then build insights out of those images. You need a lot of image augmentations to be built on top of that because there's so much of our data that needs to be there. There's a lot of pre-modeling capabilities needs to be done. There's a lot of modeling capabilities, which means which algorithm do you choose? So for example, in a machine learning world, right, there's a random forest, there's a gradient boosting, there's a light gradient boosting and there's an extreme gradient boosting. How do you choose that? There are multiple models. Before that, every model requires its own pre-modeling steps and then a post-modeling. So these are all a part of our traditional, I won't say traditional, but the earlier avatars of how do you really use deep learning and machine learning. The way it has transformed into generative AI, and this has actually taken a leaps and bounds. We are now started using foundation models, which means these foundation models have kind of replaced our basic traditional way of model building. Right? Which means that you don't really need to do a lot of pre-modeling steps or a modeling steps or even a post-modeling steps. These are getting replaced by the off-the-shelf available foundation models. Now the foundation models could be your ADA model, Babbage. There are certain models that are there in the generative AI space. But the point is these models have been built on a large, humongous amount of unstructured data already there. And they have been built on massive, massive amounts of data with the labeled data. So what that translates is for us, for a practitioner, for students, is that you really don't need to do a lot of pre-modeling steps on which you will run your models. The models are already there. 90 to 95% of the time is what we are talking to our customers is you don't need all these pre-modeling capabilities, or refining of your model, because these models are already trained on humongous amount of data. You plug in your file, you plug in your data, pull that API, get that model call and get the results. Right? It may sound very simple, it still needs some bit of an exercises, but the point is all those way of working in a traditional way has been replaced by these foundation models. I hope I'm not boring you, but I thought I'll just do a bit of a brief in terms of where we stand now. Right? Now let's, before I kind of jump in as to how do we bring in Microsoft offering on generative AI, it's a one snapshot of what Microsoft has on an Azure platform has to offer from a machine learning or from a deep learning or from a generative AI landscape. Right? If you see this scenario-based services, these bot, cognitive search, form recognition, they're all services meant for your cognitive use cases. If you see these customizable AI models, there is a vision, speech, language, decision. OpenAI will talk in detail because that's the crux of talking of the session today, which is generative AI. But that's the whole plethora of offering that Microsoft Azure has offer in the cognitive world. And then we have an ML platform, not for today's discussion, but again one of those key areas where you go and utilize your machine learning and forecasting models. Let's get deeper into one of the offerings. So what we did recently, like 3-4 months back, is Microsoft has formed a strategic partnership with OpenAI. Everyone's aware of OpenAI? Yeah, yes. Okay. So Microsoft has formed a strategic partnership with OpenAI. And I think the sole, or let's say 2 or 3 different objectives of forming this partnership was to make sure that the algorithms that OpenAI is developing, Microsoft plays an equally important role in helping out OpenAI build those models. That is one. The second is the scalable and the infrastructure security that the Microsoft can provide for these models to run with, because these are very huge and big models. So you need that infrastructure, that security to run on top of these models, which is where that was a second kind of a reasoning why OpenAI and Microsoft kind of jumped into a partnership. The third one, the scale that Microsoft Azure offers across all the services, because it's a pretty old organization, right? So we have that scale across all the organizations. And the aim for both the organization is to really take AI to the remotest locations of the globe. And we are very proud, as a Microsoft, we're very proud to say that we have actually done this on the ground, which is, if you have heard about, there's a Pradhan Mantri Yojana that was there. Even the remotest location of a person who is actually wanting to take a service from a government office, they'll actually be able to do that at the moment. And they don't need to be educated, they don't need to be very skilled. It is actually offering a service at the remotest location. And that is being powered by AI, which is on Azure. So we take pride in that we are able to actually democratize artificial intelligence to the last level of putting AI into action. That's the other partnership, that's the other piece where this partnership came together. Now with this partnership, what you get is, while there are models that are available on OpenAI, those models get surfaced on Azure OpenAI. Now, I think the common question that comes to the mind is, when the models are available on OpenAI, why do we need Azure OpenAI? What is that additional that we get? And we'll talk about that. It's not a selling pitch, but any questions on that front, I can take that. However, the key point is the models that are available for doing your large language models, they are available as part of the Azure OpenAI offering. Every model has its own use cases, the way it works, but to let you know, these are the typical the models that the organizations are using. One is the GPT-4 models. We'll talk about in detail. Tally model and Chat GPT model. Every model has its own use cases, which model to choose, which model to really pick up. It depends upon what is the problem that we are trying to solve. Now, going a bit deeper into the OpenAI family of models, right? This is, I think, should be interesting for the students here because this way we are getting into a bit of a theoretical exercise. Right? Now, what are we saying, right? We have these kind of 4 models, 4 different family of models. So this is one family which is GPT-3, then we have another family which is Codex, and then we have another family of model which is Chat GPT. Now in the first family, what do we have is we have an ADA model, and these are the name of the models, right? ADA model, Babbage, Curie, Da Vinci. These are 4 different models that are available as a part of GPT-3 offering, which means that these models are typically meant to solve use cases around text data. So you provide your text, and for example, if you want to summarize, as we were just talking about summarization of a document, how does that happen? There's a lot of corpus that is there. How do you kind of summarize that and get a key talks that are happening within that research paper in a document? So these are the use cases that this family of models solves, which means ADA, Babbage, Curie, Da Vinci. These are, you throw in the text and you get text as an output. That is the whole idea behind these models. From a capability perspective, as you would have seen on the graph, Da Vinci is the model which is the most capable model in this GPT-3 family. It is built on humongous amount of, I think, billion and trillion of parameters. Only then it is able to get to that capability from an accuracy perspective. Inferencing time, which means how much time a model will take to respond back to a query. That is called an inferencing time. How much time it takes, Da Vinci being built on the maximum number of parameters will take the maximum amount of a time for you to respond back. Curie, Babbage, ADA again in a decreasing order. Then we have another family which is called Codex models. Now these Codex models are essentially meant for conversion of your natural language into a code. Anyone would have used SQL commands, right? I mean, students should be using SQL commands. Now, as a practitioner, and I've been practicing data science for the last 16, 17 years, I can write codes, but even today, if someone asks me write a piece of a code, very simple piece of a code, I will still forget it because I still don't know the syntax. I still miss out on the syntax. I still miss out on those key phrases key words to use in my code. Now, being a practitioner for like 15, 16 years, still forgetting it, right? This helps me a lot. Because now what I'm able to do is I'm just able to write a command to my application saying that, hey, can you roll up my data at a certain level and get me the sum of all sales that have happened across the regions. What the model will do is it will actually create a SQL query. What you need to do is you get that a SQL query, run on your data, and you're out. Your results are there. That's the power of these Codex models. Not saying that one should not learn SQL, because at the end of the day, whatever the tool is giving you, you need to validate that as well. Again, AI not replacing you, but AI enabling you. So make sure you learn the SQL, but don't forget to use these capabilities which are available in the AI space now. I think I talked about this, the GPT-3 family of models. There are certain limitations that typically comes with all these models. If someone is seeing that token generally means whatever that you're writing on OpenAI. For example, if I'm writing, can you help me with the latest iPhone that is available in the market? For example, I write this, right? Now, can you help me? These are all words. And these words are actually broken down into tokens. So that is the limitation that these models come with. You just can't bombard your models with, just like a, 5, 6 storybooks. You can't do that. There's a limitation that comes around it. So make sure whatever you are passing to OpenAI, or for that matter, Azure OpenAI, make sure you are very judicious in terms of what you are putting onto the system. Don't just bombard the models because you know that I'll be able to summarize my whole document. Let me just push everything into it. It will give you an error. And this is not just with Azure OpenAI, this is OpenAI. That's the way these models are there, right? So be aware of there are limitations, but there are ways to counter those limitations as well. We're not going deeper into it, but there are ways how do we mitigate these issues as well. For someone who's going to try these models, important point to note is DaVinci is the most expensive model. So you're going to incur a cost. Whether that is OpenAI or Azure OpenAI, doesn't matter. These models are chargeable. So make a judicial call which models to choose from, what is the use case, what's the price sensitive I'm looking at, and these pricing are determined by the number of TPMs or tokens that we pass. So the more you pass, the more you will charge. So that one should be aware of. The next series of a model that latest came was GPT-4 model. This is essentially an add-on to the models that was developed on GPT-3 or 3.5. The way this series GPT-4 is different from our previous models is, the GPT-3 3.5, they are, or let's say GPT-3 are, right? They were text in, text out. For example, you pass a document, you'll get a result out. GPT-4 model are like a multi-model approach, which means you pass your text and get images out. You pass your images and get a text out. So it is one model that is surfacing all your needs. Whether you want to converse, whether you want to summarize, whether you want to extract sentiments, right? Someone talking about very good about Bennett University, let's just say an example, right? How do you know what is the sentiment about the university? What is the sentiment about the faculty? What is the people talking about? All these pieces of a puzzles can be solved using GPT-4. The third one I think is of interest to everyone, ChatGPT. How this is different from a GPT-3 or a 3.5 was, the earlier models were only a text in and text out, which means the use cases that you will be able to solve using those previous series of models were, like say, a summarization use case, sentiment analysis. How do you want to extract topics? So I think there were some journalists also, is what I was told. Now, these what do you guys do, right? You kind of get those topics, get those research out. Do you ever felt, excuse me, do you ever felt that what are the topics that have been discussed within this particular article that I'm going to print or I'm going to read, right? Those use cases of reading and extracting key keywords were the problem statements solved by GPT-3 models. ChatGPT is a different way of using the models, which means you're able to converse with a machine in a natural language. This is more applicable when you want to build a chatbot, wherein it is not a standard question and answers that goes, but anything and everything that you would want to type and know any reasonings, ChatGPT is one of those models that can help you. Now, for example, there are many customers who are building a ChatGPT in terms of discovery phases. So we were talking to one of our customers. They were saying that whenever someone goes to buy a car, generally what happens is he or she will sit down in his or her friends group, or maybe go to a dealer, and start, conversing. What car do I buy? I have this much of a money, but I don't like to, spend too much for my luxury. I'm okay with a good mileage. Now, these are the questions that we typically ask when we go and buy a car. Can a system replace this? Can there be a bot that is available on a car dealer's website? Anyone who comes in and wants to buy a car just types in his query, and ChatGPT kind of reverses back and gives you an answer. Which means if someone, for example, says that I want to buy with a mileage of, let's say 16, my budget is under 20 lakhs, I have a big family, 6-seater is what I typically will need, can you suggest me a car? Can an application actually go and look out for those answers from your database or from external websites, give you back answers, and you're able to converse further, is what ChatGPT model is on. That is a difference. ChatGPT is a conversational model. The GPT-3 or 3.5 series is like a text in and text out model. So that's a difference that we are talking about. Now, with the ChatGPT, I think the benefits, as I said, right, it's a conversational event, which means you are talking to it. There's a conversation that is happening. It's not like one question and one answer. It is a conversation that is going. So that is the best benefit of having a ChatGPT model. But what comes is there are a lot of limitations, which means these models do hallucinate. What does that mean? It does mean that it is still an AI, right? It is still not a human. So it can give answers basis its own intelligence. You may expect answers which may not be entirely related or what you would expect. It can still hallucinate. Now, given the limitation that we have, there are ways to actually stop, ChatGPT to stop hallucinating as well. Which means there are techniques like prompt engineering, making sure that you're building your ChatGPT model closer to the data. Because if you give your own data to the ChatGPT, it will respond to the universe that it has been given. So you need to bring that data closer to the model to be able to ChatGPT being respond back using the data that has been uploaded to the model, right? And there are prompt engineering techniques which all of us are still learning. I won't say everyone has learned it, and there are experts. I still feel that there's a huge scope of learning prompt engineering, even for the best of the class in the world. But that is the way things are going. What does prompt engineering means actually? Right? Now, whenever you are typing something, the chatbot is responding. How do you ensure that whatever I'm typing, the results that comes back, let's say if anyone else types it, it comes back in the context that I'm talking to. That's called a prompt engineering. Now, if I go back our previous avatars of traditional model development, I was talking, right, third slide. In traditional model development, what we were used to do for machine learning model? We were creating new variables. So let's say, for example, if you want to identify whether a person for a bank will fraud or not fraud, or will buy a particular product or not product, right? There's only a certain amount of information that is available to the bank. For a model to build and give you an answer saying that this person is going to default, or this person will be delinquent, or this person is going to buy my product or not, there's a lot of information that is still needed for the model to work. How does that lot of information, the additional information comes from? That will come from feature engineering, which means you will create more and more variables out of the data that is available with the system. Take this philosophy into generative AI. Prompt engineering is essentially somewhat same as a feature engineering. You are still trying to build the model in a way that you will expect the answer the way it should be responding. So that's an art. It's never been a science. Building features, prompt engineering, this is never a science, it is an art. And which is why I say that no one has mastered it as yet, as whatever I have seen in my experience. So we need to learn that part as well when we come into these ChatGPTs. DALL-E model, it's basically you throw in your text and you get your pictures out for a marketing content. I think maybe useful for a journalist here, because if you want to create a picture of any news article that you are covering, you just pass the context and these pictures will come on. And this is not a Bing search or a Google search. These are the pictures that are actually being made on the fly with the prompt that has been given. So if I say, for example, if you're covering a news article for someone, this G20 meeting that is happening, let's say an example, right? The president of so and so country coming here, and you want to publish an article on it. Now you will need a photograph of it, and you may not find a photograph of, let's say, Joe Biden in Aero City, just for an example, right? How do you get that? Is the model capable enough? And you say that, can you get me a picture of Joe Biden standing, at so and so location? Because there's no picture that is available in the internet. But the model should be capable enough to give you that picture. As I said, it's not going in the internet world. It is actually creating those images. So that is DALL-E model in short. I talk about use cases, and I'm not going to bore you. I just have one or two slides at the max. But these are the problems that the industry is solving with OpenAI. Now, if you look at the automated customer service, these are the problem statements that predominantly everyone is trying to solve. Believe me, every organization, because all the organizations have their contact centers, right? Anyone you pick it up. What they are trying to do is, their customers are calling their call centers. And what they are trying is, has my agent responded back to the customer in a way it should be responded? What were the topics that were discussed during the calls? Is the customer happy, not happy? Those kind of use cases are being identified and solved using OpenAI. It's not just Azure OpenAI, there are multiple other capabilities that play a role. But given the context that we are talking about large language models today, these play an equally important role. So that's one. Knowledge management document, I think this should be applicable for you as well in the university. The reason I say that this use case is about, there's a whole amount of data that is lying in our university, right? In the databases, in the unstructured form. If someone comes in and wants to onboard in Bennett University, let's say from an HR perspective, and someone wants to do an onboarding, he or she will reach out to few people, get an understanding, or will read out some question and answers that are available in the university. I don't know, but that generally has been the case, right? Can a bot being built and someone logs onto your system and get the information which is actually stored somewhere in your Bennett University database? That is a knowledge process document use case. Summarization, I think extremely useful for a journalist here. You got a lot, sense of a research that has been done, and you want to summarize that article as a first page document for your, media. Can you summarize those and put that in your front page as a story? That could be one of your use. I'm not a media expert, but I'm just trying to think of what would be possibly you can use, these models for. Sentiment analytics, you've got a lot of research, you've got an audio. Sometimes journalists do record also, right? They do record. Now, keep on listening to those audios and then taking a notes. Rather, convert that audio that you have recorded while you are interviewing, convert that into a text, pass that into Azure OpenAI, and get what has been talked about. Get the keywords out. Was the interview that you conducted in a positive sentiment, in a negative sentiment, or was it a neutral sentiment? So you don't really need to go through those recordings, listen to those recordings again and again, manually write down what has been talked about, use the AI. Use AI for that. Automated content creation, again, I just talked about, right? You can get actually the pictures that can be created. So those are predominantly the use cases. I think I'm not covering the whole bunch of a universe, but I think that should give you a sense in terms of, what are we trying to achieve with generative AI. This is a bit technical, so I'm just skipping this because I talked about these. I spent just 5 minutes on data security with Azure because it's not a sales speech that I'm doing at the moment, but a lot of concerns has been because OpenAI, it's open. How do you ensure that the data is actually, secure? Right? There are certain guardrails that we have built. There's a specific office which is called Microsoft Responsible Office in Microsoft. It's a handful of people who is actually monitoring what has been thrown onto Azure OpenAI, which means any kind of harmful content, sexual content, malicious content, which shouldn't be thrown onto our platform, that team is the one. And if that content comes up again, there are chances that someone will get a call and will kind of give a warning or something like that. But there's a security that has been built. Within Azure OpenAI, the data of our customers remain in their own subscription. It doesn't go out. So the data, in fact, that you throw onto Azure OpenAI remains your data. We are not using that data to even train those models. So that's the security that we have built. Again, for students, it will not make much of a sense as to get these securities, but I thought it's good to know that when we are taking our products to the market, we are ensuring that the security and responsible ethics are already built into our products. So I'm going to skip this. Success stories. CarMax is one of those customers where they are actually summarizing a lot of articles, research papers, and then taking a strategic course, the way you could possibly also take. Myntra being one of the latest entrant into Azure OpenAI, they actually built a recommendation engine where someone, for example, wants to go and say that I need to go for a party, can you suggest me few merchandise? The algorithm actually does that. Right? So that's the power of a recommendation engine being built on Azure OpenAI. Last slide, final thoughts. Again, these two pictures are not available on the internet. I picked it up from DALL-E model. The idea to put this picture is, so this guy is actually showing off, right? This is showing off, I've done so much of research and query. The other is actually you're serving a dough. The message that I'm trying to convey is, model building is for show, but model deployment is for dough. So let's not focus on just showing off, building those models, rather think of the end objective, that how do I actually deploy the model, which ties back to my first slide, which is giving life to generative AI with Azure OpenAI. Right? So make sure that you are covering the entire gamut when you're plunging into this journey of generative AI, and not just focusing on learning a model. Learning a model is good, but ensuring that the use cases do get solved, that is, I think, the paramount importance. With that, thank you so much. I hope. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That was such an insightful idea. I hope everybody was sharing stories using the hashtag Bennett University Microsoft AI event, and a lot of ideas have been discussed. Now the forum is open to a Q&A. So everybody who has a question can ask all our speakers here. Yeah, I request all the three speakers, Anil sir, Abhishek sir and Rudra sir, to please come up on stage for the Q&A session. And Sanjeev sir, I request you to please come on stage. And Abhay sir, I request you to please come on stage. Okay guys, anybody who has a question, please raise your hands. What you have to do is just follow the basics. We always go by introducing ourselves, then we tell what course are we from, and also address who the question is for. We have three speakers here, Rudra sir, Abhishek sir and Anil sir. So please do address who the question is for. Anybody? Questions? Nandika? Yeah.
You can take mic.
My name is Nandika Mishra and I'm a third year BGMC student. So my question is that there is a common fear among analysts and employees that there is a likelihood that AI will result in mass global unemployment as jobs are increasingly become automated and human labor is no longer required and might render us futile. So what are your views on that?
Thanks for that question. So I think like some of the things as we were discussing earlier, I'll just share a bit of my point of view. AI are tools. Like they are not there to just take things over. They are not like that's where what we were discussing earlier, that these are tools which are making things easier. You have to figure out like what are the problems that you want to solve. You have to figure out how do you use these tools to solve them. These are things that will make things more productive. Like when calculator came out, I'm sure people may have thought that you don't need to do maths anymore. But we figured out a way where we started using it. When computers came out, there was a huge fear that it will lead to unemployment. Whereas we became even more productive. The GDPs of countries went down. The same is expected with AI. AI is an enabler that's going to make you even more productive, be it analyst, be it whichever role. The roles, the way it has been done traditionally will change. That's the way we have to think about it. The way the analysts had been doing stuff, it won't be the same. But at the same time, it's not that AI is replacing them. The skill set that needs to be developed, the way you use it, that needs to be, I may use the word upgraded or modified so that you can leverage these tools to do things better. So that.
Thank you, sir. Any more questions?
Here's a supplementary.
Recently, IBM replaced 7,800 employees with AI. So, I mean, that's a loss on our part. I'm not refuting, I'm not, contradicting your point that it is not useful. But, where is the line,
the way I look at it, right? Like I said earlier, AI is now a way for us to build our own dreams.
Just tell it to hold it.
Okay. So the way I look at it is, for me, AI is in like a core Rudra, works with me, build new business models, right? And which my dream, where I want to become, what I want to build. Now, I'm sure there is some negative news, but the way I look at it is that the positive side of it. Like for example, when Anil is talking about all the models that he's presenting, there are 3-4 startup ideas that is running in my mind, right? So I'm just telling the same thing to him that I myself don't know that I can do so much, right? And that suddenly made me feel like I'm an intern here, right? About AI. That's how it is. So I feel that yes, there are companies, there are people impacted because of that, but I think that's not the only thing. There are bigger things that are also happening, and one who has a dream can actually pick up AI in the right format, use the technology in the right way to build their own dream project that they want. Right? So I just put my 5 example startups are out and out driven by AI. So think in that format. I being non-tech guy, I've banked so much on the content projects and to build that as a startup. So I would see the positive side of it rather than worried about it. I was in that spot when I saw that last year, but then I realized that I was wrong. I can do actually a better job using it. Right? That's my take. It all depends on how you want to take it forward.
I'll just add my 2 cents to it. पहले लोग बैलगाड़ी पे चलते थे, फिर घोड़ा आया, फिर engine आया, right? Today, if you have an option, you have to go fast or you have to reach somewhere on time. आप बैलगाड़ी से जाओगे, ट्रेन से जाओगे, जहाज से जाओगे. आपके पास option है, right? What has happened is that in a lot of organizations, people are refusing to scale up. I don't want to look further, but I'm saying that even within our own group, you will find a lot of people who say that we were hired for job X, so we will only do X. But X is becoming redundant. So, at any stage of your life, you have to keep pace with technology. If you don't, you are not relevant in the system. So, as Rudra sir said, and as Abhishek has said, you have to look at the positive side of things. Do you want to change, or do you want to remain the way you are? If you want to remain the way you are, then there's very little use for you in the system, right? So that's why we have to embrace these things, use them to become more productive into the system.
Even in April, I was in US. Many of my friends, they are project manager at the moment. They are always telling Dr. Bansal, it is also challenging for us. Either we have to retire, we have to upgrade our skills and to do unlearn, relearn, so that we are in a position to contribute towards client, because client expectation has increased now and they expect that. So we have to do reverse engineering. There is no choice. If you don't relearn, you will be outdated, as Sanjeev told, as Rudra and Abhishek told. It is expected that you have to upgrade your skills, be the latest, so that new wheel should not be invented. If there is something which is available, you must use, so that your productivity for organization must improve, must increase. So with that, I don't think so there is any problem at all, but it is. And I have seen many persons being given early retirement because in those vertical businesses are not there, and in vertical where businesses are there, they are not going and upgrading their skills. So companies are not left with anything just to give them early retirement. That is what it is happening. Thank you.
Hello sir, my name is Yasharth. I'm a 3rd year journalism student. My question is related to data theft, because recently many people or customers of Meta had to deal with data theft. Their identity got stolen somehow from such a big organization like Meta. So where do you set a line? Where does Microsoft sets a line where they will tweak their security framework irrespective of the fact that whatever country they are operating in. Like beyond that, Microsoft is not ready to bend their security rules.
So Microsoft never bends on security. That's given. Right? We'll never compromise on a single piece of security. That is a fundamental principle. In fact, the responsibility that we carry when we are taking AI to the market is there are certain pillars that we are working whenever we are releasing any product. It is not just about Azure OpenAI or any cognitive service, right? It is about any product that we launch. These are built on 5 or 6 fundamental pillars, which means any product that we launch will be based on accountability. Any persons or team that is working on building out a product, they are held accountable for what they are doing. There is a transparency, the second pillar of our responsibility when we are taking AI to the market. Responsibility is second, which means that whatever that we are developing, we are held responsible for what we do. Transparency being the other one, which means whatever that we are developing, they are transparent to an end user in terms of how our technology is getting used. So there's absolutely no compromise on the security. In fact, from a Microsoft Azure perspective, all the products and services are governed by the security certificate, which is ISO certified. So this is the public information that is available. All the products will carry a certain ISO certified tick marks basis whatever that product is there. So rest assured, from Microsoft Azure side, we are taking everything into consideration before any product is released from a security compliances certificates perspective.
Any more questions, guys?
I'd like to just add a bit to what Anil already covered. One of the things is to the question that you asked, right? Like social media and all these areas are evolving much faster than laws and regulations are. Like that has happened across multiple countries over the last few years. But you are seeing that each country is now coming up with their own laws. Like Europe actually has pretty strict guidelines around privacy. There's a discussion happening for data privacy for India as well. It's getting passed already, right? So we have the DPA and we have to work. So it's while we have to like follow those, countries are going to provide those laws and regulations. But one of the things that has happened within Microsoft is the responsible AI that we were discussing about earlier, that holds us responsible for being over-cautious about privacy. Every product, as Anil also mentioned, be it for partners, be it our owned and operated products, Edge being all the products, we go a very strict privacy review before we are able to roll it out. We try to not take data more than that's necessary. So it's super important. We have to be even more cautious. One of the things that you will see, even we have enabled in Bing Chat, is there is a mode for enterprises and schools and universities where we call it more private mode. What it does is any information that you provide, we do not use it for training the models. Like while the public mode will be used for training the models, often universities or students may have content or enterprises that is not public, and we want to provide that option to the users. So that's why it's very important for us. It's going to get complicated as we move forward, but on Microsoft side, we have strict boundaries with it as we try.
Hello sir, I'm Mojit Jaiswal and I'm a third year BGMC student. My question is, will our productivity be enhanced or rather it would be influenced or dominated by it? My question is to especially Dr. Best.
Definitely it will be enhanced, right? Don't take it as a challenge, it will definitely enhance your productivity. Something which is available, it is always good to use that and spend your time something which is not available there. So definitely AI tools are enhancing your productivity, and that is what all these programs are happening, because we want your productivity should be multiplied 10 times. Those are the tools you must learn and use it in your practice.
I think that point has been taken up by both Abhishek and Anil about responsible AI. So I think that's what you're trying to also say, that is it going to influence people in a certain way?
Yes, I mean, it would actually dominate the productivity, not enhance. Don't you think so?
While I'm not expert in what you are studying, I'll still try to make sense in terms of which course did you say you are in?
Journalism.
Journalism, okay. Now, I think again I'm not an expert, but just picking up an idea from there. In a journalism, you will go and conduct interviews. Right? You will record those. You will write articles, or someone will write it for you, and then you kind of pick up those what has been talked about in that interview. Typically, in a manual mode, what will you do is, you will, as I was mentioning, you will keep hearing that audio again and again, and then try to summarize what is this being talked about. You will not just go and print that on your media. Is that a fair understanding of me, understanding the way this works is?
Yeah.
That is it. Now, so the way you will do is you'll keep on listening to those audios, keep on understanding, because listening, writing, printing, these are three things that are happening. Now, where AI will become an enabler for you, it will enhance your activities. If you have a system which is built in, wherein the audio that has been recorded, right, you pass on to a system, and the system being able to transcribe that, which means converting an audio into a text, right? And let's say an audio is for 1 hour of a duration. Converting that 1 hour of an audio into a text, and then running on OpenAI or Azure OpenAI, right? Running that Azure OpenAI to extract what is being talked about in that. Wouldn't that be an enabler for you, or would that be you will be dominated by it? I leave it up to you to judge. What is your thought? Will that enhance your productivity, or you will be get dominated by it? If I give you a solution,
in this context, it will of course enhance.
Yes, that answers it.
Again, I think this is similar to the analogy about the parallelity and the options. What I will mention is, as I mentioned earlier, it's often harder to predict the future, but you can look back and try to see examples. Search engines are now omnipresent, like Google, like all these search engines are there. But there was a time when the search engines were not there. You actually had to look up encyclopedias. You had to look up, I don't know if you have ever seen Yellow Pages books, where you had to find out the phone numbers of directories. If you had to look up a phone number, there were these big books. That's why it's called Yellow Pages, by the way. I had also learned it later. There were these Yellow Pages books that you had to look up for each and every phone number. Nowadays, you don't need that. Now, did search engine make you more productive, or was it not? It's something that we define. Like, your tasks will change. The way you use AI is going to enhance those. Like, you have to figure, like, I think what it unlocks is your creativity. Like, what can you do more? What can you create with this? It will unlock time for you to do that. Like, rather than the stuff that you could already do, use AI in a way that like opens up more time for you to figure out what the human brains are made for. So I would say, like, similar to how search engines made us more productive, AI is getting into that plus mode. And I think when I said earlier that we have to be the dreamers, that's why it comes to us. Like, we have to think what we can.
My last 2 cents, right? The stage of the career that you are in, your student, right? The student. My advice personally, and I'm changing this in open, is focus on the studies, because OpenAI, Azure OpenAI, cognitive engines, these are the technologies that you will learn over a period of a time. But your base needs to be very strong. So while we are all talking about use OpenAI, don't do it manually, I think the base needs to be very solid. On top of that, I think then you will be able to pick the technology and be able to relate to the technology much better, rather than just jumping into the technology. That's, I think, my 2 cents.
Good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon, sirs. My name is Aditya Joshi, and I'm from BGMC 30. So I had a question regarding the SAG-AFTRA strike which is going on, regarding the screenwriters. Their job is basically taken away because of AI. So, sir, I just wanted to ask, what is your opinion regarding that? And this strike which is going on, and all the actors coming in to help. So, what would be your opinion?
Concern is AI overtaking us.
Citing the
So I'll try to
common
answer.
theme coming
I'll
up.
just try to add 2 points to the previous question. So like I think, who is AI to influence me? I'll just take what I want from the AI and read what I want to read. Right? That's what my take is. Like I'm out and out search guy. If you ask me to go and do farming, zero. Like that, my personality now started talking about climate, sustainability. All this I learned through AI. So it's all about how do you adopt it and build around it, right? So that's what I feel. It can't really influence you if you really don't want it. It all depends on it. That's how I might take it. Right. To the second question about Stringer's job and all of that. See, like I said the first time, right? It's not about taking away job, rather building a kind of content that as an individual, they can make that content. For example, in the news domain, Stringer's job is not a challenge because AI cannot give you real time news, right? It's an evergreen content, maybe there is a challenge. There also, how do you portray it? Let's say, for example, G20 event, something happening inside, some decisions has been made, can't be replaced by AI. That's like a real news, which can't happen. Like a train accident, a flight no launch, nothing can be replaced by AI. But what my view is that how do you pick it up and enhance it is a day-to-day job. That's what I feel. Now, Getty has sued, saying that look, these images, we all know that's the biggest lawsuit. But that doesn't mean that Delhi stopped generating images. That people stopped using the images. Right? People still started using the images. It's not that some job is gone. It's about how do you use that product in the right format and build a product around it as well. Right? That's what I feel. That's what my take always, that there is something somewhere happened because of AI is what everybody is trying to put a dotted line, rather not looking at the enhancement more. For me, if you ask me, AI is a profitable money. If you do it right, you make a business around it and you will make money. You just go start your own blog with your own thoughts. Like you said sometime back, movie script, right? So if you can start doing it, build a short movie using AI in image format, video format, using that text. Maybe you'll become sensation tomorrow. Right? So it's all about how you want to use it. For me, AI is just a platform to enable all of that.
I just I wanted to take that question that you asked in 100 most like so. I think everybody must be aware, the screenwriters, and they are going after that movement. But I think we should spend a minute to understand that what is the real issue that they are talking about, right? First is underpaid, like they feel like they do not get enough due credit, that's why even the actors have joined it now. Hollywood is trying to work through it, and this problem has been there for quite some time, and it has now bubbled up. But the main problem that we have to understand from that is about giving credit for originality. Like they are saying, like they are creating content. If with AI you are able to just create content without giving credit to them, then how is it that the creators are going to get their due? Like what motivates them to create original content? That's true for writing, that's true for images, that's true for everything. For that matter, that problem is not a new one. Copyright has been there like for ages for exactly that problem. Like I can't take just a logo of, let's say even Microsoft, I have to take permission before I'm able to do that. But the situation has changed. What has changed is now AI is coming in, and as our technology grows, we understand new problems and new fixes get rolled out. For that matter only, like what's happening is this private data, like making sure that the data that you are putting in is not being used to train something else. Or even if your data is used, then giving credit that like your data has been used and we are doing it. We have an integration of DALI within the Bing search. One of the things that we are doing is we are putting a signature that we are generating this image, but the original image was actually this. So you have to think about I think that like AI is a buzzword, it will get used. That issue that's happening is about getting credit for the original content, and we have to figure out a solution for that. So again, to the previous question, I don't think it's a point for us to be afraid about. It's just that we will learn such new problems, we will figure it out, and we will fix it. That's the way.
I think we have a positive time. If you have more questions, you can email it to us. We will get the answers. So, if
Yeah, I think we're done with the Q&A. So now I would request the students to please step up and felicitate our two guests who have come all the way to Bennett University for this session. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Can we have a huge round of applause for them? I also request Sanjeev sir to please give a vote of thanks for our guests. We have a huge round of applause for Anil sir and Abhishek sir.
भाई बैठ जाओ